Welcome back to our channel, and today's topic is all about 15 questions to encourage critical thinking. And so here are the 15 questions that teachers and parents can ask their kids to encourage critical thinking. Each student walk across the graduation stage, diploma in one hand and proverbial toolbox in the other hand. Inside the box is every skill and piece of knowledge they've learned throughout their childhood. The contents of this toolbox will be their building blocks to success beyond high school. In addition to impressive classroom discoveries like producing electricity from potatoes or building their own paper match volcano, there's a vital skill every student should possess: critical thinking. Okay, so how questions guide young students' critical thinking? Critical thinking is about so much more than simply knowing the facts. Thinking critically involves applying reason and logic to assess arguments and come to your own conclusion. Instead of reciting facts or giving a textbook answer, critical thinking skills encourage students to move beyond knowing information and get to the heart of what they really think and believe. So let's go on with the 15 questions to encourage critical thinking among students. What is one of the best ways to encourage critical thinking? By asking excellent questions. We have compiled a list of 15 questions that you as a teacher or a parent can ask to encourage kids to think outside the box. Now let's plunge to it. Number one question you should ask is, how do you know this? How do you know this? Whether it was by word or mouth, classroom knowledge, or a news report, this question prompts students to consider whether their source of information is reputable. Number two question you ask for your student or kids is, how would your perspective be different if you were on the opposing side? This question encourages kids to role play from opposing person's viewpoint and discover a perspective outside their own so that they can better understand the broader situation. Extracurriculars like debate class, mandatory for all school students, is a powerful way to accomplish this goal, as a student must thoughtfully anticipate their opposition's arguments in order to counter them. And third question, how would you solve this problem? Finding creative solutions to common problems is a valuable life skill. This question is the perfect opportunity to encourage young minds to wonder. Number four, do you agree or disagree, and why? Choosing a side in any debate challenges students to consider both perspectives, weigh the arguments, and make an informed choice. Number five, why? Why and why? Just like when you were a young kid, ask repeatedly to push students beyond a simple first, second, or even third answer to get the real depth. Be careful though, do not ask them to the point of frustration. Number six, how could we avoid this problem in the future? Ask students to apply critical thinking by analyzing how they could prevent a certain issue from reoccurring. Number seven, why does it matter? Whether they're learning about a historical event or mathematical concept, it's important to understand why the topic is relevant today. Number eight, what's another way to look at this issue? It can be easy to learn one worldview and automatically believe it is the only or the best way. Challenging kids or students to think of a creative alternate perspective encourages them to think more broadly. Number 9, can you give me an example? Inventing an example or pulling from experience to share a real one is an excellent way to apply critical thinking skills. Number 10, how could it have ended differently? How could it have ended differently? It takes some innovation and careful analysis to storyboard a different ending, considering what could have been rather than what is. Number 11, when will be able to tell if it worked? When will we be able to tell if it worked? Okay, so when will we be able to tell if it worked? Kids will be pushed to consider what constitutes success and how it can be measured in scenarios where the results aren't set in stone. Number 12 question, why did you ask that question? Instead of answering a question at face value, this question encourages kids to think about what the merits of the question may be. Okay, let's go to number 13. Who would be affected by this? Who would be affected by this? Students, as the next generation of leaders and game changers, when making any decision, it's important to consider who will be impacted and how. Number 14, what can this story teach us about our own lives? What can this story teach us about our own lives? From literature to social studies, students interact with all kinds of different stories. Help them to take these narratives one step further by examining how it relates to their lives. Number 15, the last question. Why is this a problem? Analyzing why something is a problem, rather than just accepting it, will help students develop strong problem-solving skills of their own. Alright, there we go with your questions, guys. You know where to send your answer, right? So, let's get it on. Number 1 question on critical thinking. What are the 6 types of thinking? Number 2, what is critical thinking examples? Number 3, what makes a good critical questions? Number 4, how do teachers use critical thinking? Number 5, do you critically without question, or do you critic without questions? How do you challenge critical thinking? How can I improve my critical thinking skills? What is good critical inquiry questions? Which one is the most powerful barriers to critical thinking? What is the following requirements on critical thinking? What are the 4 primary values of a critical thinker? How does asking questions help with critical thinking? How do you apply critical thinking in your everyday life? And last question, how important is critical thinking? Alright guys, that's it for today, and see you on my next topic. And of course, don't forget to make comments on every video that I posted, because it will serve as your attendance. Thank you so much, and ciao for now.